Hey y'all, how you perking? I hope you're perking good. So, what in the world is going to happen to the world in the next handful of years? 2020 has been really big and a lot has happened, and we're only halfway through the year, so most people are asking, what is next? What is coming up next? So this video is going to be a little bit different today. We are going to find out those answers, but I just wanted to say that usually it's just me on here using my cards and getting the answers that you're looking for right here by myself. But with this one, it's a little bit different because my twin sister and I decided to do this together, and we were just doing it one day with the camera on, deciding that we were going to record, and I clipped it to be as short as I could make it, which I know is still very long, and everything that came up in the reading is meant to be helpful, not meant to be fear-based, but meant to be realistic and honest in terms of what we saw in the cards. So this is a very different type of reading. I've only done one other reading like this on my channel, and it was What's Going to Happen to Us. That was probably about 3 months ago or so that I posted that. And honestly, if you want to watch that, the very last 5 to 10 minutes of it explained exactly what we're going through now with the uprising and the Black Lives Matter movement. So that kind of predicted that coming up. If you want to check out that video, it also has stuff about the virus as well in it. But it's the only other video on this channel that I've done like that. It's already coming true, so we decided we would do this one for y'all. Recorded it last Saturday, June 6th. Yeah, I think that was Saturday. And we'll see what you think about it. Also, in the description box below, speaking of Black Lives Matter, I will have some action links in there for anybody who is curious about how to support our Black community, and so scroll down there below if you're interested in that. I just wanted to make sure that I gave that some attention here in this video. So anywho, without further ado, here's me and my sister doing our readings, seeing what we can find to help.
I'm going to read what I got here the way I see it.
Yeah, we read whatever we see.
Yeah, so, like, what I'm seeing here is a lot of people feeling like they're stuck in their head, and they feel like they don't know what to do next. They feel trapped. And so it's like, you know, here we got the blindfold on, so you got people who are literally like, I didn't even see it coming. Like, I felt blindsided by this. And where the fuck do I even go from here? Because I feel like I'm trapped in here. And all these thoughts, all this stuff whirring around, like, how am I supposed to be able to, like, unlock the mystery of how to figure this out and put this together? And that goes right into our Justice Reverse. So we're looking at a lot of people that are having some legal issues, or some things that are of like a legal severity that are just going like belly up here. So, you know, balance is out the window, fairness is out the window, justice is out of the window. It can feel like all this karmic stuff kind of bubbling up, and especially, you know, no justice. I mean, justice is reversed here, so a bunch of injustices here. So blindsiding, injustices, fighting, passionate fighting. That already sounds like right now anyway. That doesn't even sound like future, but apparently it's going to continue because this is a progression.
Because and the progression goes is like here. Starting now and moving forward too. So that's what this is doing. So
we're both doing it. Yeah, because it's kind of like a timeline and it reading it again. And here's where it's like, okay, the death card doesn't mean that people are going to die, but it could also actually mean that people are going to die. So you could go like real literal with it, but so either it's things like where actually people do end up dying because we've got some kind of like war happening here. Could be something as crazy as war, civil war, even, you know, like lesser than like global war. It could be, but still, that's a warning type thing. So death can actually be death, but it can also be like people being like, that's it. I'm done battling. I'm fed up to the point where it's like, this is a clean slate. Like, we're just going to be like, wipe the board clean. All the old stuff that it's like, you know, it was crumbling, you know, like this is wiping it clean. And this is saying, I'm ready to just go ahead and go and do. Like, even if it's like, I'm about to walk off the cliff here because this sounds like something crazy. Like, oh, I got a crazy idea. My whole entire family thinks I'm nutso for even just wanting to do this. But I'm like, listen here. What else do I have to lose at this point? I mean, really, what do I even have to lose? Might as well just walk my ass right off the cliff. And that's what he's prepared to do right here. And over here we got grumpy guys. So here you got someone who's wanting to be boss up, but you've got somebody that's unhappy. Somebody that usually is in a position of power and control. Someone who thinks of themselves as God, that has found themselves no longer holding that seat and no longer holding. It's kind of upending some of this control. And it's got him pretty pissed. So I think of that as kind of like anti-establishment type material right there. When I see that, that's what I'm thinking. And what do we got going on here on your plate? I know you got some stuff to.
So when we were saying, you know, what is going to be happening in the rest of 2020 and 2021, you know, kind of moving a year forward from here, whatnot, this is starting at where we are right now. So what it's saying is that and for lack of a better word, I'm just saying what it's saying, a more feminine energy is coming onto the planet, where it's like we have been ruled by a very paternalistic, man-driven kind of idea of way to go.
Down with the patriarchy.
And there's going to be some sort of coming in of being like, now it's time to think about emotions. Now it's time to cater to what we're feeling and what our passions are and what drives us. And, you know, we are all going to start becoming passionate about things and speaking out on what we're passionate about. You were mentioning passion and stuff in yours too. Speaking out on what we're passionate about.
Two passions.
Stuff coming. Now, with the Wheel of Fortune upright, this is like, okay, we've come to a point.
Two karma cards on top of each other too.
Yep. But when I was seeing that, it's like we've come to a point where now we're at a place in history that it's like certain things are about to happen that are basically destined to happen. And you can think of it as in, oh, it's destiny and fate to happen, or if you're the type of person that isn't into that, and what you're into is, how could this not happen because we were on a road that paved the path for this to be the only thing that could have come up now. It's kind of like saying, how could someone not be mad that someone, you know, killed their son or something like that. It's so whichever way you prefer to look at it, that is that energy. Like it was bound to come. It was bound to happen. We're here. And this is starting something new, starting a new era. This is where it starts to get literal for me. So first we had an all stop everywhere. That was the pandemic, right? When Corona came and we all had to stop. Everything in the world basically had to stop. Now we're right here at a place where it's what she saw up there, justice card reverse. We're at a place where justice is not being served. Things are not fair. Bullshit is happening and people aren't okay with that.
Black lives matter.
While I'll go, Black lives do matter. And what I'll say here, because I feel like this is, but I feel like this is important to note. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this if I get it closer up here. Yeah, see what date it is? It is Saturday, June 6th right now.
I thought January too.
Yeah, I thought January too, but Saturday, June 6th. Saturday, June 6th. This will anchor us. So, anywho, the injustices happening, like what she was talking about. In terms of this, what comes next? What I'm getting is there's something gonna happen at a family level. I'm getting like some kind of something that affects families coming up next. I don't know what that could mean. A lot of things could impact families and affect families, but I am seeing something negatively impact families in some kind of way. I'm seeing something that makes people feel like something's being taken from them in an emotional sense, like like they're suffering an emotional loss in some kind of a way, like whether it's losing family members or something like that, or losing some sort of rights as it relates to family or something. There's something involving pain, loss, grief.
You're
with
definitely
family.
losing rights, and people can talk crap about that, whatever you want, but when you've got double justice reversed here, you're losing rights. If I'm just looking off of here too, just to bring it in, you're talking about the microcosm to the macrocosm, because what we're seeing here is grumpy old establishment trying to hold on to the reins and the power just a little bit longer, because I want to milk it a little bit further, because what we have is this is like deep state energy going down. This is anti-establishment. It's going down, but you're not going to have somebody go down without a fight. They're going to take it to the nth degree before it can get there. I mean, this is literally is what it's looking like. It's looking like somebody who's an egomaniacal kind of God complex gone salty. And that's just the macro, and then how that affects the microcosm of the actual family unit and what that means. And in a I'm not trying to be like fear tactic scary, but this could easily be separation of families, even down to removing children. We've heard about that you've seen that in headlines. That's not something that's new, where they've talked about concepts like that. Not saying I would want it to be that, but there's children that are on this card. This is a card typically of like nostalgia, children, even past lives. If you have a tendency to believe in past lives, this can be like your past life karma again. The karma showing up multiple times. A very karmic year. There's a couple of hard-hitting things. So you want to go? Let's put these third stacks on here. So
I felt like after what happens with the families, that there's some sort of pause for a second, some kind of a pause and wait. Like, I don't know if it's time to recalibrate. I don't know if it's just like thinking of what's coming next for a minute, or just trying to get settled back in and trying to get back to normal for a second. I don't know, something along those lines. And it's a time where we need to start kind of getting our shit together. So there's this some kind of a feeling here of, and for lack of a better word, because again, we're not trying to do fear tactics here, but for lack of a better word, prepping. So this, making sure your ducks are in a row, making sure that, that you would feel like you were prepared if things were to get rough, because it has been a very weird year with very weird things happening, and people felt blindsided by stuff and felt like they needed to get their ducks in a row, and this is a card that can call to that.
Yeah, because the bottom line is, this guy, this isn't coming in for him. He's got this, whatever it is that you might depend on externally to bring you that coin, and this is anything real. So your food, shelter, water, any kind of things that are like your material things, your material needs. He's bringing it to you when it's upright, but homeboy came out here in the reverse. He's sitting here being like, what you might be expecting, that all the resources that always came that you were used to getting, and it's like, that again is upending that routine. You may not be guaranteed those resources
just
anymore.
Like during the COVID period, how a lot of people had to pause or lose their employment, and they were blindsided by a loss of that resource. This is kind of saying, prepare, to as best as we can, again, not in a fear way, just in whatever ways that you can, that feels comfortable and feels empowering to do, to find some ways to accrue your resources and get your ducks in a row for in case. That's what this is kind of calling out to me to say. This one is calling out to me to say, if you have some sort of emotional something that you've been putting on the back burner, and not working through, if you like, it's time to get serious about working through those things. It's time to get serious that if you need to have some kind of say with your family to make things better, do that. If you need to learn how to step up and take ownership and whatever in a career, do that. Just finding ways to tie a bow around some of the unsolved things that have loose ends that you tend to avoid doing or putting off. It's time to take care of those things.
And I'm feeling called to go and turn this into a 3-card spread because I remembered that this was over like 2 passionate energies. Mm-hmm. And, first of all, these are fire energy and that's water energy, and that's like, absolute opposites of the spectrum. But sometimes when we see this, like, this can also mean that, like what she's talking about, whether it's yourself or people that you're dealing with, this is kind of like, no shade to anybody, but this is kind of like a pathological immaturity. So whether it's you that's been, not basically adulting, like stepping up to the plate and taking radical ownership of yourself and the people that you're connected to, or some kind of, radical responsibility, because again, this homeboy is saying right here, he's like, you're responsible for your coin. You're responsible for cinching this for you. So this is kind of a thing saying that, like, we have some energies here that might need to grow up. This doesn't have to just mean you. This could mean other people, because with this battling and warring and, possible civil upheaval, you're going to have people here that are basically coming in extremely pathologically immature, people that are not going to be ready or able to apologize. So if there's any kind of hang-ups that you have, like, well, I'll wait until they get their act together, or I can't do blank until so and so apologizes, or so and so gets a reality check, or da-da-da, it's not going to happen. Okay, don't you wait around for that, because that is not going to happen. All right, so this is definitely a situation to, like she said, figure out what these emotional hang-ups are, and if it's in yourself, own up, step up. But if it's somebody else that you're dealing with, you might have to start withdrawing your energy from that and be okay with letting it go. Let it go, because and that's what we were talking about here with this death energy. It's all about letting that go. You getting to a fed up point where you're like, I'm letting it go.
Yep. There's going to be certain types of feelings or relationships or things that just can't really go past here. They're just not going to be able to be helpful past here. They're just going to drag you down in every sense of the word past this point, and we got to shed that dead weight off is what it is. Now, this is where things are going to get so with this, what I was getting with this card is there's going to be some huge things for all of us that live here and all those. There's going to be some huge things that come out into the open that's discovered, that it's like new information. Like, what?
The big reveal.
Like,
and this ain't just one. You got at least 2 right here.
Yeah, at least 2 big reveals. But yeah, big reveals.
And you got the 2 here, the 2 people here. It's just reflected in here.
Yep. So what I'm getting from this big reveal, things being exposed for what they are, things all of a sudden, like, when I say exposed, I mean, like, seriously, think of exposed energy. Think of what does that look like when something, you pull the blindfold off and something's exposed and you're like, whoa, that's a game changer. That's something. So there's going to be that. And like what she said, we have 2 here. We have 2 here. We have 2 here. Could be related to a man and a woman. Could be, and when we say man and a woman, could be like masculine and feminine energies, which, there's sometimes men with feminine energies and sometimes women with masculine energies.
Everybody
whatever. We all have both in our own ways, and some of us operate more in one than another.
Yes.
Whatever. But I'm talking about exposing, big scale exposures, not some little piddly things that come to light. Big scale exposures.
These are towers.
Yeah.
towers.
Big scale exposures. Now, the other things that are coming up for me with this card, what I'm getting here is global. That this is a global thing. So, sure, us here in the U.S. is going to be a hot spot of activity. It already has been during COVID. It already has been during the Black Lives Matter protests, things of that nature. And there's going to be more of that here in terms of us being a hot spot, but this card means global. Something's going to affect in a global way. And again, keep in mind this reading is like, over the next year or so. So this could be something that happens in 2020, 2021, or even maybe in 2022 when we're talking about big exposures and big global impacts. So it's hard to say with exact timing on that.
And this person was ready just to throw themselves off the cliff and to get out of there and get in the new. And these people are obviously traveling. They are feeling like they have to move or get out or get away. Also, when I look at this card, for some reason, one thing that came up in my mind were refugees. Mm-hmm. Like I literally thought of people that looked like they were down on their luck, that they were in a position where they were like
I gotta get out.
The bottom rung that were feeling like that's it. I can't be trampled any further than this. I gotta save my own skin, and this is kind of like escape, get out. I feel a refugee type energy about it, but it doesn't have to be actual refugees, because literally just even like American citizens, you might find yourself feeling like a refugee in your own country.
It's possible.
But this is definitely like I'm not worried about it. I'm going off into the new. I have to get out. I have to go. I have to jump.
I have to take this leap.
I have to go.
Yeah, I have to take this leap. I have to go. Yeah. This one, there was something here that what I got from it, I know it's the Lover's card, and so there may be something to be used in that with lovers, and she might end up getting something from that. But when I pulled this card, I felt like if you said, you broke this contract, you didn't hold up your end of the deal here. Our part to play in this world is to be good citizens and do this and do that and blah, blah, blah. You didn't hold up to your end of the deal. And because it's a major arcana card, I got from that it felt like, whether it's government or structures bigger than government or surrounding it, big business maybe, I don't know, but it felt like some kind of big overarching entity of sorts being found to not be holding up their end of the contract, the societal contract that we have of we did our part as citizens, now you do your part. And they're not going to hold it up.
This is the card of Gemini, and Gemini is all not to stereotype Geminis, but two-faced. One of the things is two-faced. So when you see
our own mother is a Gemini, yes, we're not hating.
And so not hating on Geminis. My daughter's a Gemini moon, but you've got the masculine and the feminine. So this is like being in two ways about something, like being of two minds about something. So it could be two-faced in a bitch ass way, because this guy here's got the bad attitude. This is what I think of as like the angry the angry establishment that's not getting their way, the angry old deep state or whatever you want to call things. But this also, to me, like what you were saying, is kind of being like the two-faced energy. So I'm going to try to sell you, oh, this is for your best interest. Yep. Oh, this is what you need. Yep. Oh, yeah, like take this, do this, because I'm looking out for you, big brother bullshit. And it's like, no. Two-faced. Okay? So this is
it's the like, one. What do you want? When somebody comes to you and they're like, I'll do all this for you. And you're like, what do you want? What do you really want?
Come at me with what you really want. Take the magic apple, and it's the poison one.
Yeah, it's like, what do you really want, bro? What do you really want?
Yeah, so like, I don't buy into that at all. But this can also that's the macrocosm. So on the microcosm, it can mean like, I think of two things that come to mind with this is, feeling kind of torn, feeling in two different ways about something. So you're kind of like of two minds about something. Do I do this? Do I do that? Do I do this? Do I do that? In this way, some ways, it can kind of make me feel like in a more like romantic or even platonic sense. Do I stay or do I go in terms of this family structure that I have? This again can, to me, feels like kind of lovers that are being separated. Lovers, again, this could be like the children not being in the same home, or the lovers being separated, families being separated. You've got this unit here of children, of love, of, you know, mom and dad, or whatever kind of thing like that. You've got this type of thing, and either this is a forceful separation of loved ones and of, or situations, you know, even down to like, you can't go visit these people, you can't go, you know, no birthday parties don't happen anymore because, you know, whatever, like all of that kind of stuff. But it can also even just bring up the concept of confusion, where you're just feeling like you have a major decision that you have to make, and you don't feel like you can make this major decision because you are in two minds about it. Do I do this one or do I do that way? Do I stay in this family structure? Do I go out on my own? Do I go do another family structure? There's some choppy changey type energy here with this.
Yep. Okay. So just to explain, this was my second round of pulling things that would be a little bit more on the predictive side, and then she's pulled a stack right here that's more of the kind of advice type thing, which she'll explain later. But some more of the things that I'm seeing and why. What comes up for me on this card? Twofold. One, for anybody out there, you know, just as a silly aside, but for anybody out there that enjoys like planting things and stuff, you know, some people are like, ooh, I like to, you know, grow my own herbs, and I like to grow my own fruit, and I like to whatever, you know, do it. This would be a good time for creative endeavors that you know, allow you to be like, you know what, this time I am going to grow some things and see how it goes and whatever. So that's one thing. It's just a little gentle aside, but when I say gentle aside, I don't mean any less serious. I just mean it's kind of aside. There's another aspect to this too, where it's like, at this point, you know what things that we've already talked about were going to come. At this point, there will be another kind of pause where people are like waiting. And you know the phrase, a watched pot never boils, where you're like, what's going to happen next? 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 You know, waiting for the shoe to drop, so to speak. There's like a period of time where we're like, okay, waiting, seeing what's going to happen. And in some ways, waiting, seeing what's going to happen in terms of the stuff that we've put forth. So it can, you know, it doesn't always have to be a negative kind of thing, although some aspects of this are forewarning that some things are going to be less than comfortable. But there are aspects of this that's saying like, okay, I planted these seeds, not literally, but you know, I planted these seeds in my life and I'm waiting for them to grow. I've done work. I want to see where this goes, kind of thing. So there's lots of little things that I'm getting from this card, but it moves directly into these, and you see I've clarified the hell out of these things.
Well, before we even move into those, like, okay. I'm not trying to be doom and gloom, but when I look at that, I do think of kind of food insecurity. I do look at where he's like, you know, it's good. It would be good for those of you that feel like having green thumbs and want to garden, because, you know, here it can be like looking at, like, I'm looking at crops that never show up, you know,
and
like
for
food
people,
scarcity. For
people then who say that raises something within you and it makes you feel some sort of way, then practical ideas around that, if you're wanting to take this card and turn it into an advice card, is, you know, are there farmers markets around that you like? Are there co-ops around that you like? Are there people that you can get to know that do like to plant things or have things? Are there any kind of local farmers and stuff like that it's, you know, everybody right now, especially in the US, I don't know about other places in the world, are like, buy local, learn, you know, support your own economy kind of thing. And supporting your own local economy is really important and really helpful. Is there anything like that you can go ahead and start networking, go ahead and start looking at, you know, what's out there for? Again, with all of these things, it's, you know, some of these things that might sound like worst case scenario things that may never come to pass.
That's just what we read tarot for, to look at the spectrum of how good could it be to all the way to what's the worst case, how bad are these cards saying.
Yeah, we look the whole spectrum at what are the possibilities, what are the potentials out there in the energy right now, and it's not useful to read something that's all scary and scares people to death to where they're paralyzed to mobilize, but it's not useful to read all fluff and all good either that doesn't help people plan or prepare or feel confident in their next moves. So there's, you have to have both sides. You have to have both sides, and so that's what we like to do to be the most realistic, and this does carry the weight of both sides. And so what we're saying is, if in 2020 we have literally had a global pandemic and we are having a revolution, an uprising of citizens saying this inequality and inequity has to end, if we're literally in those kinds of stages, why would it be so far-fetched to think that there could be a possible time in a potential future, again, this is just energetic potentials, where it would be good to make sure you have communities with people, that you have friends, that you know your neighbors, that you make sure you have other sources of food or water or shelter and all those necessary things if you ever needed it. So those kinds of things.
Last thread had the Knight of Pentacles, the horsey, reversed, where it was talking about
that it's
taking some responsibility and ownership for these very physical, practical matters, and that's why when I see this again, I'm like, that again is what I'm seeing.
Yeah, it could be
a potential.
It could be a potential. So if I'm moving forward to some of these other things, this was a little cluster here. Now, given where we've been going, we already talked about there was some kind of an overall establishment or government or some kind of overarching group, big business, whatever it was, that didn't have our best interests at heart, that you would be like, whoa, expose, what's going on? I did my part, you didn't do yours. And so this energy is saying that there is a point that we can be kind of coming out of that realization, we're settling into knowing what's actually true, and coming out of that, finding ways to now, like, okay, we all have to get serious about resources, take empowerment into our own hands. Like, we are more capable than we thought we were. We can do more things than we realized. We didn't, just because we maybe have been handheld by having all of our stuff provided in terms of, access to things throughout our lives, we can do things on our own. Even just what, apply this type of concept to what you see now with Black Lives Matters, where it's like there was so much people have been trying to do for so long just to get equality and equity, and now that the issue's being raised, people, not the governments and stuff, but the people are stepping up. The people are doing GoFundMes. The people are doing grassroots things to help a movement and to help a collective. And that's what this is saying, that in the future, after some kind of big shocking things come to light, we will have the potential for all of us to say, we have the power. We can do this. Even if they don't give it to us, we can do it for ourselves and grassroots organize and meet our own needs. And so that is something that comes up here, where things will be more in balance at some point. Things will feel more in balance at some point, and people will feel inspired on certain paths. Like, I am inspired to be able to help with counseling and guidance via tarot and, psychospiritual assistance to people. And somebody else may be inspired to be, I'm the really good cook. I'm the one that can sew. I'm the one that can, people will have their own inspiration, their own path, their own skill sets that they can lend to the collective. What were you going to say?
Timing as well, because this is a card of divine timing as well, because, having to temper yourself. So you don't have to feel like I have to go from like Joe Schmo shit show to like a top of the world kind of a person overnight. You're like, well, that's not me. How am I going to do that one? So this is like, no, just temper yourself. Like, you've got all the tools within you, and you have the ability to take this kind of radical responsibility for yourself, so that you do feel like if any kind of bullshit were happening, it's like, well, then I've got me. So I don't have to worry about anything else here, because I got me, so whatever. And this is like, just temper yourself. You have, a small little goal or a small little plan, and if you just are consistent about it and just show up, consistently, and the timing will work itself right. You will find yourself in the right place at the right time for all of this magic to take place.
Yep. So as I'm getting over here, again, with the whole something happened, with those things that we already talked about that were kind of coming, that really took a dig at us, like it was like a knife in the chest. It really took a dig at us. We were, sent reeling on an emotional level from it. Then it's saying after that happens, we've got these things coming in here, where after that happens, we're trying to figure out how to regain a sense of control in our own lives, regain a sense of power over our own dominion per se, and kind of really be able to move on with that. We have to lay low for a while. We have to reflect on things and figure out how do I get myself back together from this, because it's not over and it doesn't just affect me. It affects a lot of people. And again, worst case scenario, that there are impacts to facets of the whole world, that there are places scattered throughout the world that will have impacts from this as well.
This is definitely going to be a global thing. I mean, that's what this card screams. It's the world.
It's the world card.
This is a global thing.
And this is saying it's not over. That this is like a long, like we're coming up. We are at the beginning now of a long process that is going to start, and things aren't just going to be over.
And in a more tangible sense too, this, also to me, I think of as like more issues with travel, difficulties with travel, whether travel bans or things like that are things that come up as a standard measure, because I do kind of think that if it's something that has been used before, it will be something that will be easy to institute again. And so when I think about this, you think of being able to travel the world or go, and it's upside down. This is a reversal. So when I see this, I think of more kind of hang-ups with travel, difficulties travel, inability to travel, bans on travel, and that could just be again a worst case type energy. But I do see that, where it's like you might be kind of like stuck with yourself, quarantined. When I see this, I think of quarantine and travel bans. This I tend to think of like structures that are turned upside down.
What I'm getting here, for me, this is kind of like an eye-opening moment. So
the truth movement.
Yeah. So like how we said when something comes to light and everybody's like, whoa, really? Whoa. Okay, so that's how it really is. That's what the truth is. That's what's actually going on, kind of thing.
Boom.
This is like your eureka moment. You're like, okay, well, if that meant that, then this means this. And if this was never really this way, then it must have been this way. Then that, when you start putting all the dots together and the puzzle pieces start to do this number, that's what this is. That's what this is. Now, if I'm going to quickly go over this, and I probably can't even leave this here. I'm probably gonna have to do a little bit more on this maybe, but again, pay attention to home and family and work in the future, because there will be things that are shaking the stability. Yeah, there we go. Disrupting the stability and the patterns and what you had going on, both in a familial sense and a work sense. So again, home stability with your loved ones, job stability, things like that are things that will be coming up again in the future. So we had a hit with that with COVID earlier, but we're going to have another sort of moment with that again in the future.
I think we're going to have at least two other, no, I'm not going to say the words waves, because when you think waves, you think of waves of coronavirus, and that's not what I mean. But when I say waves, I talk about events that make the world feel shooketh.
Yeah.
Because the moon card that we got with the two towers on it, it feels like you have two more pillars, at least two more hits, where you're like, okay, COVID was hit one, and then boom, another hit, and then boom, a third strike. And so it's like, and that being part of the great reveal and the truther movement, that the uprising from it, because this is very much so a truther movement of an uprising right here.
Yeah, I mean, you can see from the imagery, is kind of like the, all right, let's start, let's hold up the,
pull the sword from the stone.
Yeah, pulling the sword from the stone, very much that kind of thing. If I'm going on over here, and I'm probably gonna have to pull more on this, this is saying in some sort of way, we're going to feel like we're not getting our way out of this. This isn't what we wanted. This isn't what we signed up for. Is this really our lives right now?
It's not what we were promised.
It's not what we were promised. It's like, is this really our life right now? Is this really what's going on? Because I am shocked. I'm disappointed. I'm like, yeah, this
I was lied to.
This is the deceptive card. Look at this sneaky bastard. Like, seriously.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, I was supposed to be getting all of this. They promised me all this. Even if it's down to, they promised my Social Security, that if I worked all my life and contributed to Social Security, I'd get all these cups. Oh, if I just, put my money into the stock market or put my money into a Roth IRA, or I'm going to get a payout. I'm going to get a payout.
It's like you told me I would.
The carrot and the stick. They told me, go chase that carrot on a stick. You'll catch the carrot. You'll catch the carrot.
They lied.
Fuckers. They lied.
They lied.
And look who lied.
Yep.
Look who lied. This also, I'm not wanting to be sexist, but this also makes you be like, is there going to be a prominent female figure that tries to pull the wool over your eyes? Is there? Me, when I see this, I think of kind of the new structure. Mm-hmm. When I say new world or new earth, I'm not talking new world order or anything, but I think of kind of like
just a new way of being.
A new structure, a new foundation. Because when you have 4 points here, you've got like the four
pillars.
The 4 pillars of a house's foundation. Mm-hmm. And so when I see this, it's like here, you had deceit. And either this is a prominent female figure that you're going to have to watch out for, or if we're being more positive on the scale of things, this could be us saying, cut out the bullshit.
Yep.
I'm calling you out for your bullshit for what it is. They're all lies. This isn't actually coming. You promised me that this was going to happen, and it's not actually. You're reneging on your part of the deal. I don't buy it.
Yeah.
I'm not swallowing that bullshit.
You screwed up one too many times. I don't believe you anymore.
Cut it out. And when you cut it out, boom.
You can build your own new thing.
New foundation that's actually going to be something celebratory. Something that's worth celebrating, because it's like, here's the portal.
So the good news is that from the things that we've looked at that were more predictive, the ending is a positive ending. It's just going through an awful lot of mess. We're
talking years.
Yeah,
here.
These things
within reach.
These things that we've been talking about there. And
all the destabilization.
Those things.
This is all the destabilization. This
will take time. I mean, it's a process. It will take time.
Because you can't build a house before you demo the old one on the property. You got to get rid of the old house before we can start it up.
Yeah.
So this is a lot of the dismantling.
Yeah, dismantling of things that don't work the way that they should work, and us speaking up, just like again with the Black Lives Matter movement, what they're doing now. They said, this is not working, this doesn't work. We have to step up and make something that does work. And it's just a reiteration and waves of things that don't work that need to be restarted to work. So more of that, this isn't working, this is what I'm trying to create instead. This isn't working, this is what I'm trying to create instead. You were supposed to help me with this, you didn't, so I'm going to do it myself and get this. That same kind of energy that we're getting in our revolution uprising right now, we're going to have more of that energy.
Because this very much so says, you hear people saying like, the system is broken, we need to fix the system. No. That's not what this is saying. This is saying, and I was about to go back to the death card that used to be here, but it's not. The death card was talking about a leveling. Leveling. You are not going to fix the broken system. That's like saying, here's your little boat that you're on. You're rearranging right now, today, you are rearranging the deck furniture on the Titanic. The bitch is going down, period. So why are you trying to make it look pretty and feng shui up on the poop deck? It's going down. So when the next boat comes, when old new boat comes over here, don't be like, that's okay, I'm just going to patch her really quick. Don't worry about it.
I don't want to be on your boat. I'm going to patch this boat.
I got to patch us. Like, no.
Get on the new boat. Get on the new boat.
Build the new boat. And you might have to start at ground zero here. Ground zero for this. But that's what it's talking about. It is this. None of this has been fix the system. No. All of this has been build a new system, even if it ends up having to be right alongside the one that's falling apart. You can be building a boat when the other one's sinking. Like, it's like, no, this one's dead. This one it's crumbling of its own weight. The foundation is gone. you're going to have to start over. This is a leveling. This is fresh energy. Yep. Fresh foundation.
And then yours had advice ones.
Yes, my advice. But okay, so this is kind of like the guidance. Where we're starting out here is people that feel very disempowered. I'm thinking that lots of us probably have some good ideas. We have some good ideas that we feel passionate about. There could be a camp of us that are like, nope, I don't. I have zero ideas, don't know what to do, don't know where to start, nope, got nothing, zip. So I'm speaking to y'all too. But for the people that do feel like they have an inkling of an idea, and it's like, well, I always wanted to do this, like I always wanted to be a dancer, but my mom told me I had to be an attorney, kind of a thing. I had to be a doctor. This is the card that's talking about that kind of disillusionment, that disenfranchised type feeling. This is saying the advice here is really saying you're wanting to make this upright. Anytime you see a reversal, the advice is saying do what needs to be done to make this upright. So whatever it is, if you don't have a passionate idea, start dipping your toes in different activities. Like, get your feet wet in the world. Have experiences. Find out what your preferences are. What do you like? What do you not like? What actually turns you on inside and makes that fire so stoked? You're like, I literally would have to be, even if someone tried to pay me to stop doing it, I'd catch myself doing it and have to put money in the no-no jar because I just can't stop, It's like, find this. Find what makes you come alive. This is also cut out the bickering. Because right now, we don't have any kind of collaboration or teamwork. But guess what? It takes teamwork to make the dream work. It's a cliche because it's fucking true. This is basically saying you're going to get nowhere with the whole divide and conquer. You're just going to get conquered, okay? The divisionist stuff has to stop. You're going to have to get it together and find a way. The bottom line is you don't have to agree to be unified. All you have to do is understand. Mm-hmm. I don't have to agree with someone that I feel like is in the other camp from me. It's okay to feel like you identify predominantly like Black Lives Matter. I can feel like I predominantly am in the camp of, yes, Black Lives Matter. Makes sense to me. That whole ideology, way of life, way it needs to be, makes complete sense to me. So the All Lives Matter camp, that doesn't mean like, I gotta be against you, or I have to change my mind or anything like that. It's like, no, you just understand. If we just had some understanding for this movement to understand that movement and this movement to understand that movement, two ideologies that literally just shared a moment of compassion and understanding. I see your pain. I can relate to your pain because I see it within me. I can relate to your pain because I see it within me. So now we can see two people that are feeling scared or feeling like they have needs that need to be met. We're being compassionate. We're having some understanding about it. Cool. You didn't have to change your stance. And you didn't have to kumbaya about it. But you've had some level of compassion and understanding. That is enough to open up the door to, let's talk about it. Yep. Let's just talk about it and let's realize we're not actually against each other. We all want the same end goal. Maybe we should focus a bit more on the end goal. Not saying sweep other things under the rug, totally not saying that. But I'm saying in terms of the warring energies, you can make a movement and make some change without feeling like I have to basically annihilate everything that's in front of me that sounds like it could possibly be different. So that's a dead horse. We're going to move on. Here we got our Divine Mother here. She's talking about the harvest. She's saying that you're wanting to harvest. To me, again, I'm not trying to go into doomsday, but this to me again feels like the prepper card all over again. We already had her in the first spread, but to me the advice of her is to get one with our earth, to start developing more oneness with her as well. This is get familiar with the earth. What does she need? So even if that is investing your money, because money talks, okay? Investing your money into green energies, those type of green self-sustaining type energies. This to me also makes me think about gardening and harvesting your own garden. I mean, they even make those types of gardening things where it's like literally, you know, your closet, your shoe bag, you hang on your closet door and you put all your shoes in the bag. I've literally seen posts, whether they work or not, you know, I can't say because I haven't verified myself, but I've seen posts where people literally will plant seeds in the shoe pockets and they'll grow like a little tomato plant or whatever in these shoe pockets. So if you're in an urban area, all you need is like a wall or a windowsill to hang this in, and then you can plant a couple of things, and if nothing else, you can eat salad for a summer. You know, so it's like, you know, think about things like that. That's what this is what she's saying. Oh, and guess what she's next to? Oh, okay, our Seven of Pentacles guide that's sitting here planting and waiting for it to harvest. If this doesn't say you need to get on that garden, I don't know what else does. That's the advice here. Okay, I'm just reading what I see. That is the advice. Get to know Mother Earth. Work with Mother Earth. Get out there and do some green thumb things. Invest in green thumb things. That is exactly what it's saying here. So I think everyone would be wise to do that. This card here is saying anywhere that you feel like you are stuck or you're hung up, that's your resistance. And it's saying to hone in on that. So, deep breath, right? Because everybody's like, resistance. Yep. So everything that you feel like, no, that's not me. Oh, no, I don't want to do it. You know, all that kind of stuff. Here's our, that's your stuck energy right there. The stuck, stagnant. And so this is like, literally, if what you want to do in your life is move forward, you literally can only move as forward as your resistance allows. That's your own inner brick wall I'm talking about here. So this is a point where it's like we need to take more responsibility for our brick walls. When you feel like you're coming up to that brick wall, that's a time where you need to stop, breathe into it. What is that brick wall? What is it telling me? What does it need? What is it afraid of? And ask it questions as if it literally is another human being in the room, and we're just going to have interview time with that brick wall and we're going to talk to it. It might sound psycho, but you know, guess what? If you haven't tried it, you don't know how good it is. Okay, you don't know how good it works, because I mean, that literally is stuff when you're hanging out with your best friend and you're just talking it out with your bestie. That's the kind of energy right there to get yourself kind of unstuck. This is also in terms of, we were talking about timing too. That some things may feel like it's taking forever to accomplish it and get it going. Don't worry about that. Show up. Show up. This is saying show up. Whatever you do, do not stop. Stopping literally is what makes you, guarantees that you get nothing. It guarantees you get nothing. If you literally just show up every day, and every day you're like, I really thought about everything hard, I put effort in, and I really did try my best honestly today. Well, guess what? You're gonna find yourself on the right side of history, girl. Like, it's fine. Here, if y'all have not recognized him, this here's the devil right there. Though when I see this card again, we already saw in our one of our last spreads the Lover's reverse that was hanging out on this pile, like in our other. I keep pointing to where they used to be, but the Lovers reversed, and here's our Lovers again. If y'all see, there's the Lovers. They're right there. So in our reverse, again, we were talking about where families could be ripped apart. Not only do we have these people that are literally being ripped apart from one another, they are chained. They are stuck. We talked about stuck right here. This is also stuck too. This is someone, the dark energy. So again, if you believe in things like the deep state, the cabal, any kind of dark stuff like that, Illuminati confirmed, like whatever. Choose your flavor. This could be your stepdaddy you hate, like whatever. Choose your flavor. Whoever your bitch ass husband, your narcissist in your life. This is my narcissistic mother. I don't have a narcissistic mother. We don't have a narcissistic mother, but a lot of people do. Okay, whatever that is, whatever that vice is, it's got you. It's got you, and it doesn't have to. You can break the chains that bind. You can. Find out what has you stuck in your own personal rat cage. Find out and break it. It feels like I'm telling you how to like Iyanla fix your life in all of these, and it's like, how am I supposed to handle all these things at once? Honestly, it's like opening a flood dam. Once you even feel like, I think I can, and I think I damn sure will.
Yep.
The 1 second you decide that, it's like boosh, and then it's like, just by making some energetic decisions, you create a whole butterfly effect, that ripple in that pond. All of this stuff that I'm talking about, it does not have to be as insurmountable as it might sound with me proselytizing like this. This is feeling like you're juggling, which is why I brought all this up. So much stuff to think about, and so much stuff to juggle. But right here, right after it, you've got the guy before that we were saying that, you know, big man's lying to us. Here it's saying, no, you can clinch it. It was reversed before. You can get your wishes, okay? If you're putting in the effort, instead of juggling two things where it feels like I have to juggle between what I have to do and what I want to do. That's a big juggle right there.
Yep.
There are ways to figure out how to get rid of some things that you have to do to free you up to do some more things that you want to do, or ways that you can make the things that you have to do a little bit more enjoyable into what you want to do. Even something simple like dishes and vacuuming. You know, it's like, oh, if I hate to do it, but if you had on like your jam playlist that had you feeling like crunk as shit, and you're all like, you know, jiving around your house doing your chores, it's like, yeah, chores still suck, but it might suck a little bit less with a peppy playlist. And that's the most simple like type of example. But that's like, you know, here I am, stay-at-home mom or whatever, and it's like, you know, what do I do in my life? You know, simple things like that. But ways that you can kind of give up some of the juggling so that you can free yourself up to get more of these cups, more of this wish fulfillment right here. Now, of course, again, we feeling a little bit trapped. We already talked about it, feeling like I can't even see what's coming. I don't even know how to predict this world because everything feels so chaotic, and we got people here, even like us, that are saying things could be this positive to this shit, you know, and you're kind of like, oh my gosh, please don't let it be the worst case scenario that of potentials here. Not saying it will be, but I ethically and you ethically would say if we saw something that looked like a worst case, we would feel like voice it, because if we at least voiced it to the point where it was like giving people a heads up and giving people time, the gift of time and opportunity to try and get some of this juggling set up so that we got all these things, all this stuff prepped and ready, you know, to take care of us. It's like, good, then we don't have to worry about being blindfolded anymore, because we already feel like we have some more responsibility, some more ownership, some more control of our own future. We're taking the control back. We're taking our own control back. We don't have to be bound and gagged and fucking handcuffed about it. I mean, unless it's your gig, you know, but, you know, I'm not going into that. That ain't even right now. But this here is talking about the end of the lack mentality. So again, if you were ever feeling like, well, that's something that I can't have, or I don't know how to do it, or, you know, like, well, I always wanted this, but how am I supposed to? Or all of those mentalities that made you feel stuck, where literally like, I can't because I'm not good enough. I just inherently am deficient in A, B, C ways, you know. Oh, well, you know, it's people that are smarter that can do that. It's people that have more money that can do that. It's people that have more time that can do that. It's people that are prettier that can do that. It's people that are more well-spoken that can do that, you know. It's people that this, all these deficiencies you can, excuses, okay? And not excuses in a judgmental, mean way. Excuses as in turn your excuses into reasons. You have all of these things that feel like, oh, this is why I can't. Well, maybe that's actually the reason why you can. The reasons why you can try to do this. You know, oh, I don't feel like I'm good enough. Well, guess what? There's other people out there that are going to feel the same exact way as you. If you work with people at all, we know about people who work in like customer service, you're like, people are shit and people are dumb. You know, you hear that all the time. You're like, I didn't realize how stupid people were, or how like, you know, awful people were until I worked with people. Yeah. So why are we sitting here thinking like, oh, I'm so shit and I can't, but everybody else is so great? Oh my God, have you worked at Target? like, and ask them how people are. Okay, if any one of those people, I shop at Target too, so I could be bitching at myself. if any of those people are capable and can do something, then you damn sure can too. Okay, you don't have to be stuck, and you don't have to be blindfolded or blindsided by anything. All of this stuff is like, this is a card that you actually want to see in the reverse. You don't want to turn it upright, not necessarily, but this is basically saying that there is a light on somebody's home. There's support here. So it's available to you. Your abundance is actually here and available to you. It's, can you get out of your own rat cage, whether it be a rat cage imposed on you by the government, by your parents, by whomever that you feel, again, by your alcohol addiction, whatever that vice is. Mm-hmm. This is all about breaking the ties, taking the blindfold off so that you can see that you can actually have all of this. You can actually make this happen. So,
well, we wanted to have everything covered from prediction side to advice side to best case scenarios, worst case scenarios, everything in between, and just see where it falls from there. I guess there's no point in talking about it now.
I'm clapping. Slow clap for your future self.
Slow clap for future B.
Slow clap.
Okay. Anywho, all right. I guess we're just gonna go this time. Yep. Not my normal outro. We'll just say bye.
Bye, y'all. Bye. Skedaddle.
Shut up.